Have you ever been in a relationship that felt like it was going great, just absolutely perfect, and then boom, out of nowhere, it's over, and you're just left there with that one huge burning question? You know the feeling. You're replaying every single conversation, every moment, just trying to find where it all went wrong. And look, that is a completely normal reaction. When you're facing rejection, your brain just desperately tries to find a pattern, a reason, some way to feel in control again. But what if the answer isn't about some secret test you failed? What if it's about something much more fundamental? And believe it or not, something much more in your control. So let's just dive right into the core of it all. A lot of guys get totally caught up focusing on the wrong things, like their looks, their status, or trying to one-up some other guy. But what women really value is often far more grounded and way more achievable. It's not about being flawless, it's about how you make her feel. It really boils down to three things: your presence, your stability, and your authenticity. Okay, so what does that actually mean? Let's start with what we'll call a foundational checklist. Now, these aren't some mystical secrets, but there are qualities that are quietly observed and, more importantly, deeply felt. Think of them as the absolute non-negotiables, the bedrock of any strong, attractive connection. This is number one for a reason. Emotional safety it's the fundamental filter. It's what determines whether she wants to move closer to you or if she's going to start creating distance. In real life, it's the difference between her telling you she messed up at work and you saying, well, why would you do that? Versus, okay, that sounds tough. How can we fix it together? It's her being able to share some weird thought or deep fear and knowing you'll meet it with curiosity, not criticism. Honestly, without this, nothing else on this list even matters. Next up is consistency. Now, this is not about being some perfect robot. It's just about being reliable. It's the simple but incredibly powerful act of making your words match your actions. Do you call when you say you're going to? Do you show up when you promise you'll be there? See, when you follow through, your energy is stable, not chaotic. You're actively building trust, creating this sense of predictability that is so reassuring and so attractive. It tells her that the interest you have today is still going to be there tomorrow. And that leads us perfectly into emotional regulation. Honestly, think of this as your relationship superpower. It's just the ability to manage your own emotional state. It means when a conflict comes up, you don't fly off the handle, you don't give the silent treatment, and you definitely don't let insecurity run the show. Women notice emotional stability even faster than they notice muscles. And why is that? Because a man who's in control of himself feels like a safe harbor, not a storm you constantly have to weather. He's a partner, not another problem she has to solve. Now, this is a big one. The crucial point here is not about your bank account or your job title. It's about momentum. Are you moving forward in your life? You have goals, passions, something you're building, even if it's small. A man who's stagnant feels, well, uncertain. But a man with a sense of purpose, even if he's just at the beginning of his journey, feels secure and attractive. It's the difference between a guy saying, I don't know, I just work my job, and a guy saying, yeah, I'm working as a server right now, but I'm saving up and taking classes to become a graphic designer. See, he's going somewhere. And that is incredibly compelling. This one is subtle, but it is so, so important. The difference between genuine appreciation and idealization. Women want to feel chosen for who they actually are. Flaws, quirks, the whole deal. Putting someone on a pedestal, that isn't love. That's loving a fantasy. It's basically saying you're perfect, which creates this insane pressure to never, ever be human. Truly being seen is when you remember some tiny detail she told you weeks ago, or when you love her specific nerdy passion for old movies. That is where real connection happens. All right, now this is the one that so many men seem to miss. It sounds kind of counterintuitive, right? I mean, don't you want to make her your everything? The answer is no. When a man loses his own identity, his friends, his hobbies, his goals, and makes his partner his entire emotional universe, the whole dynamic shifts. She didn't fall for a guy who needed her to exist. She fell for a man who had his own full life, a life he chose to share with her. You gotta maintain that. It is absolutely key to maintaining attraction. And finally, we have the secret sauce, a calm, grounded presence. In a world that's so chaotic and loud, being a source of steadiness is unbelievably powerful. This isn't about being boring. It's about being a peaceful force. This is the quality that makes someone feel like home. It's that deep sense of peace and security that all the flashy gestures and grand romantic speeches in the world can never replicate. It's the feeling that when things get tough, you're going to be the calm in the storm. This quote just perfectly sums up the core theme here, doesn't it? Confidence can be fleeting, it can even be faked, but consistency, That's something that's earned over time. It is the absolute bedrock of trust. And we all know trust is the foundation of any lasting bond. So with that foundation in mind, let's explore how these qualities start to evolve as a relationship gets deeper and the roles within it start to shift. You see, as a relationship deepens, the roles and the expectations, they naturally evolve. And it's not just about a change in title, it's a huge transformation in commitment and partnership. So let's get really clear and define what we mean when we talk about a boyfriend versus a husband. Let's break this down. The role of a boyfriend, it's centered on the present. It's about exploring, connecting, sharing life day by day. The commitment is real, of course, but it's often about discovering if you're even compatible. The role of a husband, on the other hand, is fundamentally pointed toward the future. It's a permanent choice to merge lives, dreams, and destinies into one single shared journey. The focus shifts from just sharing the present to actively building a future together. And this visual really illustrates that distinction perfectly. On one side, you have the boyfriend journey. It's filled with dates, discovery, and building those initial foundations of emotional safety and trust we just talked about. It's a path of growth and romance. Then on the other side, you have the husband path, and that's defined by shared homes, permanent commitments, and the beautiful, messy complexity of becoming a family unit. It's where things like consistency and emotional regulation become the cornerstones of your daily life. Both paths are valid and beautiful, but they are fundamentally different journeys.
So, how exactly do a woman's expectations change as a relationship moves along this path, from just dating toward, well, destiny? It's not about adding a new list of demands. It's really just about the natural deepening of the commitment. Let's dig into the specifics.
This table lays out the whole evolution really clearly. So let's start with commitment. A boyfriend is expected to show loyalty and build that security. But for a husband, that deepens into lifelong companionship, a promise to weather every single season of life together. Now, emotional presence. A boyfriend provides availability and a safe space to be heard. A husband becomes an emotional anchor. What's that mean? It means he's the one who stays steady when her world is spinning. He doesn't just listen to her stress, his calm presence actually helps regulate it. And finally, the future. A boyfriend might talk about possibilities, but a husband actively co-builds that future, making decisions together on everything from finances to family. It's the huge difference between talking about someday and actively building our life. And this brings us to the profound partnership that marriage really is. It's so much more than a romantic agreement. It's a formal team. It involves legal and social recognition, the merging of financial futures, and a real commitment to active partnership. This means sharing the mental and physical load of life, not just doing chores when you're asked, but proactively managing them. It's knowing what needs to be done for the whole household to run smoothly. It's about being her anchor, the person she knows without a single doubt will always stand beside her. And this quote from Jasmine really brings all this theory right into the real world. She's experienced both roles, and she puts it perfectly. The boyfriend phase is so often defined by that exciting romantic spark, the butterflies. The husband role is about channeling that spark into a lasting fire, a true partnership that's dedicated to growth and building a shared legacy. Both are beautiful, but they serve totally different purposes in the arc of a life together. Okay, so we've defined the terms, we've explored the expectations. Now for the most important part. How do you actually apply all this? Let's shift our focus to some actionable steps for building a strong, lasting bond, no matter where you are on this path right now. But first, let's just acknowledge something. This stuff isn't always easy. Men today are navigating a really complex world of expectations. You're asked to be a romantic partner and a responsible provider, to be strong but also vulnerable, to build a shared life while also maintaining your own identity. Breaking free from those outdated models of masculinity and finding that balance, that takes real, conscious effort. So here are 4 concrete things you can do, starting today. 1. Prioritize quality time. That means putting the phone away and truly listening, not just to her words, but to the feeling behind them. 2. Share your goals and dreams. Make it a regular thing to talk about your individual and your shared aspirations. Where are you two going together? 3. Be her biggest champion. Don't just tolerate her career or her hobbies. Actively support them. Ask about her passions. Be invested in her mental well-being. And 4. Celebrate the wins and forgive the mistakes. When you hit those rough patches, choose learning over blame. Always remember, you're on the same team. And this is the final crucial point.
Being a great partner isn't a destination you just arrive at. It's not a box you check off. It is a living, breathing promise that you make every single day through your actions. It requires constant nurturing, adaptation, and that intentional choice to keep showing up for the person you love, even on the days it feels hard.
So what's the ultimate takeaway from all of this? Well, it's simple, but it's also incredibly profound. The love you build, the partnership you nurture, the life you create together, that is going to outlast any individual achievement you ever have. It's not just a part of your life. In so many ways, your relationship is your legacy. Nurture it with everything you've got.